let's see here. What do we want to start off with? What do we want to get into? Well, I think every devil deserves his due, And I came across these guys, and I guess we need to kind of go on a little bit of a journey here. We got to figure out something about this fella. I stumbled across this channel called Men's Rights Revolutionary Movement. Now it essentially looks like a meme. It looks like a joke. It's either a joke or it's like a really bad Fed psyop. Like this guy kind of comes across as a little fetish. You know what I mean? But it could also just be an internet meme. He could just be memeing. Maybe he's reacting to the news of the day. The way I found this dude was through Reddit. I found it on Reddit. So that can be very hit or miss. And they're not too critical over there. They see something like this. They just want it to be true, so they all lose their minds. Trembling says, always just showing a clip. Oh, I already read that. Didn't you say something else? Nope. Okay. So we're just going to start off with this guy's first video. This is from a month ago. A message to all involuntary celibate men. He's like an ISIS recruiter for incels, I guess.
My brothers, my name is Captain Aurelius. I'm the commanding officer of the INCEL Protection Force. We are
like this. Oh, okay. See, I only watched like part of another one right off the bat. I'm saying fake. I'm saying fucking fake. This is not real. I don't believe it. The Incel Protection Force, or maybe, you know what? Maybe he's like the father of a guy who committed suicide because he was an incel and he couldn't cope. And this is what he's doing. Now he's going to protect them all. He says, never again. Not on my watch, he says. Not on my fucking watch. Trembling says, Brendan Schaub is involved in Pizzagate. Joe Rogan on the Epstein flight logs. I mean, come on now.
We're an elite and venerable organization whose members are committed to providing physical security, protection, defense, inspiration, leadership, and guidance to young, disenfranchised men who identify themselves.
Hold on a second. Is this Prophet? Is this Prophet's Camp for Doomers? Is this some sort of low-key? Am I really just promoting Dan's camp, his work camp for Doomers? What's going on?
As incels. You know who you are, my comrades. We all know who we are. Because of all the minority groups in the United States,
say it loud,
we are the most disenfranchised.
Proud.
We are the most ostracized. We are the most mocked, demeaned, and insulted.
You know, he's not wrong. You know, this is definitely a call to action to incels everywhere. What do you think? What do you think? Do you think most online incels, the 4chan incels we'll call them, do you think they think this is based? Do you think they think this is cringe? I'm going to say they would say it's cringe. I can't imagine any self-respecting internet weirdo thinking this was cool. Let me see here. Let me catch up with chat real quick. Oh, I missed a couple messages. If I'll stay here if Hagbird is still here. I can't leave my boy. No, Hagbird moved over to Rumble. Prophet says, do you have the archives of the Odyssey stuff? I need to save some shit before it disappears. No, I don't have the archives for, like, I don't keep that kind of stuff. I don't have like a hard drive or anything with it. Anyways.
And we are the least represented. The blacks have the NAACP, the Jews, the ADL, the gays, the LGBTQ community. What do incels have?
They got nothing on the incel, okay? They got nothing on them. Prophet says, I watched our Laura episode out of spite the other day after she bitched me out, and I forgot that Paul pledged to walk from D.C. to Philadelphia to bring awareness to Diane. He also challenged Mark to a game of checkers. And Paul's ready to play. He's ready to play. He told me the other day he's ready to go. He wants anytime Mark wants to play checkers. Paul's ready. Tremley says the Prophet Camp for Doomers now involves making them build a TMNT sewer layer out of paper mache and resin. Actually, yes, it does. It's kind of like the movie, Rambo: Last Blood, Rambo 5. It's kind of like that, except it's decorated to look like the sewers from Ninja Turtles.
Thus far, nothing other than a few online forums, which amount to nothing more than a virtual circle jerk, and which is the source of much mockery and derision from amongst our enemies, and rightfully so. So what is my message? My message to you is simple. We want you to join us. We want you to join us.
Not just anyone, you. You. Hagbard says, wait, Laura's alive? Oh, yes. We do have kind of an update to that. I can do, you know what? I'll do that update after this, and then we'll do we'll just get into the Dom Lucre stuff. I have not watched his documentary, The Tunnels. So we're going to talk about his documentary. We're going to talk about like kind of the fallout of his documentary. Pardon the pun. And yeah. But I guess we could probably catch up with that stuff first.
In a legal, lawful revolution on behalf of all involuntarily celibate men. We believe in the righteousness of our cause, and while we do not seek retribution, we seek vindication through the laws of these great United States. Because I carry my weapon, my AK-47, which has been issued to me by the IPF. I carry it lawfully, and I speak to you in defense.
Listen, he's not breaking any rules, okay? Okay? Prophet says, no, I contacted her via campfire like Master Splinter. Hagbard says, oh, makes sense. You will make my turtle shelf look more sweet and immersive. Do it now. And imagine if you fuck up some of the poses he's doing, some of his dioramas that he's making by hand.
Of inalienable rights that are guaranteed by the Constitution. The right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which is a right that has been denied us consistently and categorically, and which is a right which we will seek to fight for and to represent on our behalf. Now, a proper demonstration of our military excellence and our tactical skill is in order for those who must see to believe. Allahu Akbar!
What the fuck is going on? What is this guy doing? Whoa. I mean, listen, if you want to come out, you want to find a way, you want to figure out how to be a man. You want to be a man. I mean, I feel like, though, if you hang out with this guy long enough, I mean, that pussy tap's going to be open. I mean, let's just be real. You hang out with a guy like this and you have him show you how to be a man, how to adopt some of these, masculine traits that he has that he's going to show people. You know, he's thinking, oh, I'm doing this so they can protect themselves. He doesn't realize they're becoming pussy magnets. It's going to fuck up his whole thing. Then these guys are going to get laid. They're going to leave the military. I don't know if he's really thought this thing through. They're going to leave the incel army. Crunk says, that poor tree. What will the dendrophiliacs molest now? You have to find another tree.
On our behalf. Now,
Prophet said, this is just East Rafa lore. Yeah, it is. This is the Rafa for the incels, you know? Trelmick says, send this tier 1 operator into the tunnels.
Proper demonstration of our military excellence and our tactical skill is in order for those who must see to believe. Allahu Akbar!
You know, I got to respect the call. He gives out kind of like a call. You're like, what are you doing? Hagbard gets it right. What's he doing? Making me question my sexuality. That's what he's doing. Oh, look at this. What is he saying? What is he doing? Is he speaking French?
Incel power! Hail the Supreme Gentleman!
No, come on. This can't be real. It cannot be. I refuse to believe that this is real. I refuse. I refuse.
Men of the IPF, venerable comrades of the ILM, I salute you.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's see what else they got over here going on. Jesus Christ. So I watched a little bit of this one, and this is the one that kind of made me curious. I was like, is this real? Is it a put on? I mean, the world is so fucking crazy that honestly, if this is this could be very well be real, or it could be like a Fed psyop thing. You know, it's like that thing the other day, like last week. It was Justin Mon, nice nice Pennsylvania boy. I was going to say Philadelphia, but I don't think he was from Philly. Nice Pennsylvania guy, like cut off his dad's head, and then kind of went on a very similar kind of tangent. His is a little bit more. He is a real person, though. That guy, like, he's been fighting with the feds about student loans, etc. Hardcore, like, libertarian militia dude. But it's so perfect. Like, the story is so pitch perfect to be used as a cudgel. The only thing that makes me think it's kind of real is because of how quickly it disappeared. Nobody's talking about it. A guy cut off his fucking dad's head the other day. A white guy cut off his fucking dad's Fed head the other day, and no one is fucking talking about it. That's the most suspicious thing ever. Why isn't this being used to shove something down our throats on the news every single day? Why aren't we talking about gun control? Why aren't we talking about violent extremist rhetoric? Why aren't those conversations spooling up? It's fucking weird. I'm just saying it's weird. Prophet said this is some real MK Ultra shit. Something. Let's see what he's got. Now he's got some fireside chats here. Oh boy. And he looks like, I can kind of see him close up. He looks like he's probably in his early 40s, I would say. So he's a man of life, of knowledge. He's probably well read. This is some sort of ISIS-looking incel flag he has hanging back there. The PSYOP is real. The PSYOP is real. Watch out now. Don't believe the words this Fed will tell you. Do not believe him. Do not be taken in by his gift of gab. Please do not. Young incel.
Oh, greetings and welcome.
See right there. That feels simultaneously fake, but also too stupid to be fake. You know what I mean? Didn't see you there opening. It makes it feel scripted, but it also is kind of so dumb and so poorly done that it must be real. I mean, this guy's dancing around on a razor's edge.
To our new inaugural episode of Fireside Chat with Darth Aurelius. My name is Darth Aurelius, and I am the Captain and Commanding Officer of the INCEL Protection Forces. I'm also the Fuhrer of the INCEL Liberation Movement. And today it is my very great pleasure and privilege to bring you a message, a very simple message. And this message...
Check out his fucking setup over here. This keeps blinking red. So he was listening to something before he started the video, probably psyching himself up. Well, I wonder what he's got over there. What kind of tunes he listened to?
Is actually...
Nothing but the Deftones. What?
The first thing you women need to understand is that we as incels, involuntarily celibate men, we do not wish to destroy you, or to rape you, or to enslave you, or to kill you, or to do you any harm whatsoever. Not at all. En contraire, s'il vous plaît. Actually, we seek to educate you. Indeed. For we want you to understand who we are, why we suffer, and why we think the way we do. Now, as we see...
Yeah, see, that's really the grand incel project, is just to be understood, you know? They just want these women to understand, just accept them. You know, back in the day, we used to just say eccentric. You know what I mean? Trembling says, I had that 5 CD changer when I was 15. Yeah, I think I had something very similar to that.
See it. The problem isn't with women, per se, because for generations, for a millennia, women were good, honorable, decent housewives. obedient.
And now you know what they are? They're OnlyFans e-thoughts. You'd be an incel too if you could only see. If you could only see it for what it is.
And comforting for their men. No, the problem isn't innate to you. Indeed, it's not even your fault. The problem is with Western culture and Western civilization. And that problem needs to be rectified. It needs to be redressed, and it needs to be remedied. Because unfortunately, you women have been contaminated. Your minds have been infected. And so you don't know any better. You can't help yourselves but act in a profligate and promiscuous way. You don't know a quality man when you see one. And indeed, we in the IPF have many quality men, myself included. I'm 6'3", 220 pounds. I'm extremely muscular. I have a Juris Doctorate. I drink 1937 Chateau Latour. And I read.
Dude, he's not some kind of fucking idiot. He's not some rube. Okay, this is, like I said, he's a learned man. He's sophisticated. But he's evolved. He's more fully evolved. And he doesn't need to. Hagbard says, is this guy sporting a unibrow? I can't tell if that's the glasses or a unibrow. It could be a unibrow. This could be, maybe that's the dead giveaway. It's just Ernie or Bert. It's just Bert. Sorry. It's just Bert in disguise.
The Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. But yet, you women ignore me, and you look upon me with...
He reminds me of that guy. Oh, David Arini? Remember that guy? He was kind of a, I don't know, professional red pill misogynist guy before it was the thing. He was kind of ahead of the curve. Artist, filmmaker, writer, essayist, playwright. I mean, it's kind of, easier to tell you what he hasn't done. Prophet says, if this guy can't get laid, what hope is there for the rest of us? I mean, that's what I'm saying. But maybe this is his, he's evolved. Maybe he has been laid and he didn't like it. He said, that's gross. That's icky. I'm not dealing with this, man. I don't have to do this. I am a fucking educated man. I like to hang out and think of Rome. And it's fall. I'm a very serious guy. And then he just wants to, he wants to help shepherd the generation of guys that will think that vaginas are icky. Trumping says, this guy didn't think Andrew Tate was arch enough. He needed him to be more Bond villain. Holy shit. This is some kind of Bond villain. He's trying. Listen, A+ for effort.
With contempt, merely because I'm incapable of making small talk or telling some crude, crass jokes which you find to be humorous. Now that is sad. That is a travesty of justice, and it is unnatural. So we in the IPF and the ILM merely seek to restore the natural order. We hope that you can appreciate and understand this. For all of my incel comrades out there...
See, listen, he's actually on your side, ladies. He's trying to fucking save your soul. Trembling says, I'm surprised he isn't wearing a Dr. Doom outfit. Dude, I could see that. I could very easily see that. Krunk says, check out that 5-disc exchanger in the background. Yeah, that's what we were saying. Trembling says, this is what happens when you read Julius Evola once.
Who have yet to join us, I invite you, please, come and visit us on Discord.
Krunk says, and the beaver blanket, which is, honestly, it's the kind of thing that ties the whole room together.
We welcome you there, and we look forward to the day when you march together with us in the streets in our black uniforms, when we will sing the praises of the incel movement and spread the cause of incel liberation. I thank you for...
I mean, what is incel liberation? Is it to just get laid? Or is it to be free of mockery? You know what I mean?
Listening. All honor and glory to the Supreme Gentleman. Inshallah, go in peace.
Inshallah, go in peace. Well, there's definitely a little memeing going on, but you can meme and be serious at the same time. I'm just saying. Crunk says, I want that beaver blanket. Real men with AKs and beaver blanket kilts will rule the world. All references available at louderwithcrowder.com. Okay, he's got one more. Hearthfire with your host, Captain Darth Aurelius. This is from 9 days ago. I was hoping he'd have more. But, when you got something this rich, you really gotta be cool with what you get. You don't want to overindulge with a guy like this. Get too much of that Darth Aurelius tooth. It's not good for anybody. Not good for you. Not good for your dentist. Not good for him, because you'll be repelled by him if you listen to him too much. Crunk says, join my cult, fellas. Guns, beaver kilts, and booze.
Exquisite. Chateau Latour, 1938. A very fine vintage indeed. Welcome. Welcome to Hearthfire with your host, Captain Darth Aurelius. This is a production that has been...
I like that he's wearing a sleeveless shirt, so he knows, so both the incel guys and the ladies can be impressed, maybe for different reasons. But they'll definitely be super impressed by this. The incels will be like, oh, let's look at this guy. He ain't no slouch. He looks like he goes to the gym maybe 2 or 3 times a week. And the ladies will be like, oh, look at the guns on this guy. I wish he wasn't choosing to be an incel. I wish he would just give us another chance. We're missing out.
Brought to you by the Incel Protection Force in collaboration with the Incel Liberation Movement. This is our second inaugural episode. It is my great pleasure and privilege to be able to speak to you today on behalf of the Incel Movement. We have a message of hope, a message of inspiration for all of our comrades, both for those who have already joined us and, in so doing, demonstrated that they possess the courage of their ideological convictions. And indeed, also for those who have yet to join us, who are unconvinced. And perhaps you doubt your resolve. Perhaps you doubt our commitment. But I assure you, brothers, there is no room for doubt here.
He's like, listen, guys, I didn't appreciate it that you put me on r/cringe. This is for real. Your laughter is not going to stop the pain. But you know what could stop the pain? Brotherhood. Incel brotherhood. Troubling says, I hope he never becomes self-aware.
We are men of action. We are men of conviction and strong moral firmament. Today, I want to tell you a story. This is a story about a young man. A young man who was weak, meek, emaciated, scrawny and scraggly.
Is he going to be talking about himself, maybe?
A young man who considered himself to be an incel for life. A young man who had no hope for any good future.
Somebody's got to show this to DBDR. This could really turn things around and give him some orientation, some purpose, or maybe send this to his mom. Then his mom can give this guy some money to hang out with DBDR.
A man who was mocked, insulted, demeaned, yes, even bullied. And this young man thought to himself that he needed to change. He needed to constructively improve upon himself. He needed to effectuate a complete metamorphosis. And so, by sheer force of will, by sheer hope and desire to become better than he was, he went to the gym.
He reminds me of so many people, but it's kind of funny. Actually, this person is now deceased. Coach Red Pill, Gonzalo Lira. Remember when he was doing like his Red Pill dating advice era, when he first kind of showed up in the dissident right scene, I guess, if you want to call it that. He would just kind of do like advice videos for young men, and he said that because it was an older guy who had a child that his older age, and he wanted his son to have access to all of his wisdom in case anything had happened to him. But he would go into these same kinds of diatribes where he would just heap all this grandeur onto something very kind of basic and simple. Trelming says he wants to be in a high back chair, but had to settle for the computer chair with the highest back at Staples. Well, he's out in the country somewhere. Had to take what you can get.
He trained. He went to law school. He obtained a Juris Doctorate.
Hold on, this guy sounds like Sandman. You guys remember Sandman? Who's also an incel guy? I think he lives up in Canada, if I'm not mistaken. He's the one that's all about the sex dolls. We've watched some of his videos. Maybe we should fucking hop over and watch one. I think this might be the same guy. If you listen to the cadence of his voice, is this fucking Sandman? We're gonna have to. This is an investigation now.
To constructively improve upon himself, he needed to effectuate a complete metamorphosis. And so, by sheer force of will, by sheer hope.
Or maybe that's just what incel MGTOWs sound like. Maybe they all just talk like this.
Hope and desire to become better than he was. He went to the gym. He trained. He went to law school. He obtained a Juris Doctorate. And today, that young man who was once younger than many of you are now, and indeed much weaker, today he is charisma maxed. He's IQ maxed. And indeed, he is even gym maxed. Yes, comrades?
Dude, I knew it. Oh my God, I looked into his soul. See, he's not in a sleeveless shirt for no reason. He needed to show you the guns. He needed to show you the end of the story, the results. A skinny, scrawny boy made the conscious decision to better himself, and now he's a Chad. And now he sits before you, and he tells you of his tales. Prophet says, man, whatever happened to Todd the Coomer? Oh, Todd the Coomer. We never got to go back to Todd the Coomer. Unfortunately, he got nuked. He got nuked off of YouTube. I think I found him on Rumble, though. So we'll definitely have to check in with him at some point. Trembling says, that's just Dork trying to sound like whatever anime villain he thinks is a cool cadence. Now, that's probably fucking true.
I speak, of course, of myself. And if I could do that for myself, without any help, without any support, no solidarity, no brotherhood, then certainly all of you who join...
Oh, Crunk says he's now Shad, the anal bloomer.
...us can find the inspiration, the motivation, the guidance to effectuate that same transformation.
Yes.
I cannot guarantee that you will ascend.
Yes. Oh my God. It really is. So this has got to be, it's so packed with memery. Talking about ascending or is he just somebody that's really bought into it? He kind of unironically is that guy. It's possible. Right now, anything is possible. 2024 is the year of unreal belief.
But I can promise you this. You will find a greater meaning in life. You will find a greater purpose. And perhaps, just maybe, you may find that you indeed have the courage of your convictions and the courage to stand and be counted amongst your brothers in the IPF. We hope that you will join us. Please see below for the link to our Discord. And I thank you. And now, a toast to the Supreme Gentleman. May he look down upon us with pride, satisfaction, and perfect contentment as we do his noble work. Nostrovia, in the name of President Putin and all that is glorious in this world.
I mean, come on. I mean, fucking come on. Like,
I salute thee. Cheers.
But that's how you get them. That's how you get that age demographic, though. I suppose this is like he's being a little predatory in a weird way, preying on the internet kids, talking in their language. Speaking like anime villains in Sandman, the MGTOW. And he put that glass down with some authority. I wouldn't want to fuck around with this guy. So that's all they have on the channel. Let's see here. Somebody says commenting for algorithm. What an interesting character this guy is. Heck, I've always been an exercise expert. All glory and honor be to the supreme gentleman and the eternal founding of father of the IPF. You talked about this incel militia stuff years ago, but you've never made videos like this and took real action until recently. I like to think I encouraged you. So this guy is a known quantity. He must be out there. So this is okay. Okay. Who are you, General Alec? General Alec has got nothing. Rejection is the story of my life, he says. That's definitely an incel YouTube channel or part of something that's part of a giant psyop. Trembling says, let's start a foundation that puts incels and cat ladies and the Karens, cat ladies and Karens in their 40s and 50s together. They get to have mommy wives and not bother anyone, and the Karens get someone to listen to all their crazy theories about the people in their neighborhood. I think this is a wonderful compromise. Honestly, I hope that you get the recognition you deserve. I hope a Mr. Nobel comes a-calling. I mean, that's big stuff. That's like peace in the Middle East stuff right there. Yeah. Yeah. So unfortunately, yeah, that's all there is here. There's no well, there is a Discord link. I'm not going to get into his Discord. But this is something, I guess, developing. We'll keep I'm going to keep my eyes peeled, but I am going to watch a little bit of the Sandman video. I mean, I think their voices might be different enough, but they have the same fucking cadence.
Hi everyone, Sandman here. This video was brought to you by a donation from Tristan, and here's what he has to say.
The other guy, the militia guy, is a little bit more Chad than this guy. I can already tell you. I know this video is a year old, but this sounds like a very effeminate man.
Hello, Sandman. I like the topic of discussion to be about love dolls and their effectiveness in being a replacement for women. I will share my disagreement with you as it relates to love dolls based off my own personal experience with them. You infer based off of your experience that love dolls in and of themselves, as they currently exist, may not be a suitable substitute for women. For you think that most men will find it difficult to fully relate with a doll on emotional levels. Then perhaps...
Yeah, a lot of his content surrounds getting over the psychological hurdles of just fucking a doll and treating it like your girlfriend. It's just some very well-adjusted, healthy stuff, you know? He's a real credit to people out there. Just like allowing them, helping them rationalize the furtherment of their own delusion, their own unhealthy habits. It's wonderful stuff.
Sexual as emotions and sex are closely interweaved, because they'll see it as arduous to look at their doll as anything more than a piece of plastic. I can certainly see how this can be true for some men, and maybe even most, but one has to remember the minds of men that we're trying to reach. The further set free are the ones with a different persuasion. They're far beyond the illusion of the impotent, fabricated opinions that a mirage world wants them to think. They're not attached to the imprisoning expectations or standards and thoughts of others, and see their existence from an entirely different perspective than what the Heilig see. I myself enjoy my doll more than I enjoy a real woman. She's much more...
Dude, you gotta be with the real women first. You gotta be able to compare these things. I mean, come on, dude. Trembling says this guy has the typical autistic voice where every word trails off. Yes, he does.
More attractive than many of the women I've come across in this current lifetime. Not just in appearance, but also in personality. She is more peaceful and quiet, gentle and sweet, soft and lively, characteristics I find difficult to see in many Heilig women. To those that look at the world strictly through the lower senses, it may seem schizophrenic to say one's doll has a personality. But to...
Oh my God. So he lists off all of these things, which is basically like, I don't have to talk to anyone. I don't have to develop a relationship. I don't have to compromise. I don't have to, be bothered. I can just leave her in the bed. She's always there. Sometimes take her out for walks, maybe a drive or two. Trebling says lots of lore video guys on YouTube have this voice. Fair enough. Fair enough. It just struck me because of the subject matter.
Create a free mind, this is completely normal and healthy. Just as people can create fictional movies and or books and suspend their disbelief that the movie they're watching or the book that they're reading isn't real. One can also do the same with a doll. The doll can be whatever one wants it to be.
Yeah, guys. It's just like, have you ever felt feelings towards a movie? Has a movie ever stirred emotions within you? Well, it's kind of the same thing. You just have to buy into the fantasy, okay? Suspend your disbelief, if only for a moment. If only for a moment while you're connecting with your doll.
I think as the technology of dolls improves, the easier it'll become for men to love their dolls and see them as a viable option in substitute for a real woman. So
I give these guys like 5 years. So when they have their sex dolls that have like learning AIs and utilizes some chat GPT-esque thing to like react in real time, I give them 5 years before they just start leaving the dolls. I don't think they really understand the root of their problem. And I don't think women are actually your problem. You're your problem. Trelling says, the way he describes his doll is the same way a necrophile would describe corpses. I think that's probably accurate, yes. Prof says, don't make fun of people who connect with their plastic, Shaun. It sneaks up on you. Hey, listen, at least you're connected. Well, maybe this is the way that you connect emotionally, to yourself. Maybe it helps Sandman too. Maybe in some of those quiet moments where he's thrusting away and he's getting like rubber burns on the side of his thighs, on the insides of his thighs. Maybe he thinks to himself, like, how did I get here? Why do I feel this way?
subtle improvements such as one's doll being able to reach out and hug them or cuddle with them when they're sleeping, also being able to stand upright without any supports or around her while she's standing, making the skin feel even more real without degrading the structural integrity of it all, as well as making AI voices sound less robotic. All of that can make a doll feel more authentic and be convincing enough to a specific type of man that we're trying to reach. Guess what I'm trying to say is compared to an unconscious woman, I mean unconscious in a spiritual sense, a doll is a much better option for me.
Oh my God, an unconscious doll, a woman in a spiritual sense. In a spiritual sense. Again, I don't know the entirety of this dude's history, but I believe he is not just a MGTOW, but he is an incel. I don't think this guy's ever been with a woman. I could be wrong, but I don't believe he has. So I don't know what he's comparing experiences to. I guess maybe in his mind's eye, what he would assume it would be like. Just feel bad for him. I feel bad that there's nobody in his life, not his parents, friends, family, whatever, that's ever tried to help this dude, apparently, because he's got to be, he's probably like my age. It's just a bummer. It's just sad. Trump says, Dan, like, what an amateur. Where's his doll's yellow trench coat? That's true. Doesn't this guy care about his dolls? Doesn't he dress them up?
My life was filled with much more peace and quiet, something I greatly admire.
Yes, his life is full of peace and quiet. Basically, everything comes down to, or will always circle back to, I would have to talk to them. That would have to, they're human beings. I would have to treat them like human beings. And that just don't work for me.
And perhaps other men too. Much more free time and much less emotional dependence. You've helped me a lot, as I hope with others.
Like, it's kind of the same mentality that antinatalists have about like not having kids, right? They're like, look how awesome my life is. Like, I don't have to find babysitters to go out, and I wanted to go see a movie this afternoon, and you know what I did? I just went and did it. As if like these really dumb kind of basic things make up for the deficit or make for an interesting life. Not to mention the fact that none of them actually do any of those things, and they just hang out in their apartments, their condos, and watch Netflix all day. Crunk says, have your kids read some of the AI humanoid predictions for 2050? If the batteries get there, it's all over. Yeah, well, they've been talking about that stuff for a long time. The 2042 convention or the 2044 convention. It's like a thing they hold every year. Been talking about it for a while. Trembling says, someone has an April O'Neil fuck doll. There is no way there isn't. Dude, there's people have Ninja Turtles fuck dolls. They'll have like, little turtle penises installed.
Thank you for all your efforts, Sandman. Well, Tristan, thanks for the donation as well as the topic. I'll get to it in a moment. But let me first tell everyone about today's sponsor, Me the Sandman. If you want to get your hands on this...
If you want to get some thought tears, oh boy. Jesus Christ. Yeah, dude, we're cyberbullied. We're like Mark Taylor's. This is kind of like a Mark Taylor like environment. He'd be very at home with these guys. Like the Perpetual Pleasurist, Sandman, you name it. He'd be right in with these folks. Thought tears. Be like, yeah, man, I just fuck whores, dude. It's not because I can't get a girlfriend. I got girls all over me. What are you talking about? I'm a wrestler. I'm a musician. Prof says it's not just a trench coat. It comes with Judith Hoag's signature plastic worth the extra hundo. Crunk says, I hear you, Shaun, but the level things are at now actually concerns me. What, the speed in which it's developing and the fact that nobody is really asking whether this is a good idea? Anybody that's actually actively developing it? Yeah. Crunk says to Trembling, I should have 3D scanned my wife 20 years ago. You wouldn't have to talk to her, wouldn't have to treat her like a person.
You can also talk to me via one-on-one coaching through Skype for only $45 an hour.
45, dude, he charges these fucking dipshits. Let's go back. Hold on. I almost skipped over that. That's everything.
The classic Sandman sticker and mug. You can also get the entire Sandman collection through digital download or USB key if you want through email. Those are the sound files for the first 5 seasons of my channel, so you can have those to take on the go. Each season is $15 US. Finally, you can also talk to me via one-on-one coaching through Skype for only $45 an hour. My contact email and Teespring shop are the first links down in the description.
$45 an hour to talk to Sandman about being okay with your inceldom. Oh, man. I mean, they just like it's, I don't know. I mean, you just get in this perpetual loop, I suppose, because they can't find their way out of these communities. There's nothing. And they are right about the idea that they're like incredibly unfairly vilified. You think that people would have a fucking heart and see what's going on. But no, it's like this. It's like they're the new nerds, because now nerd doesn't matter. Everybody's into comic books and genre stuff. So now nerds are cool, but now we have like the incel guys. Now we can really go after them. We just needed another group. And I can understand why they never feel like getting out of this cycle, I suppose, in their lives. Crunk says, what was the 3DS waifu game? I have no idea. Hagrid says, sex doll marriage counseling. Well, at some point, it's going to happen. As soon as they start yapping. Trembling says, making your wife les out with a fuck doll version of herself is grounds for divorce in most places. Injustice, I say.
Anyways, now back to love dolls are better than women named Debbie and Dallas Clown World show. Tristan, while I agree that love dolls have a lot of potential, they also have a lot of shortfalls. I still want to improve the technology personally. The first improvement should be to make them lighter because it's a workout moving them around the bed and changing positions. I think I'm qualified to comment on this because I have 2 of them and each one weighs 70 pounds. To some men they might be enough to get off, but to me they're not a suitable replacement.
Holy shit. Prof, so speaking of incels and perpetual pleasurists, you should do a reading of his latest community post. It's tangential to the convo tonight. Yeah, I'll check it out. Crunk says, Love Plus was the name. That's a damn rabbit hole. No, I've definitely never played that.
Different strokes for different blokes. I think if you're going your own way long enough, then you don't need to have sex with women, either real or fake. It's like that line from The Matrix where Neo asks Morpheus if one day he'll be dodging bullets. Morpheus says that when you're ready, you won't have to. I
Yeah.
think the same is true of sex dolls and bots. If you evolve and mature enough, then you don't need physical sex anymore. But many guys
If you evolve and mature enough, you don't need physical sex anymore. Where do they get this idea, this ascendance? I think it's like kind of broadly the term that I hear thrown around in the incel communities. This ascendance, like once you get past, like becoming a fucking monk, like becoming like, you know, becoming a Buddha, a Buddhist monk, maybe. Really just getting in touch with your spirituality, after you fucked all these dolls. Maybe that's what this whole scheme is to shame you into becoming a monk. So you can ascend, not care about these stupid women.
guys are so excited for the creation of lover bots one day. But if they listen to my content enough, then they won't have to smash that fake silicon gash one day. Just like Neo eventually no longer needed to dodge those bullets. However, I think it's important to open up
Oh my god. I'll give him this. Like he does make me laugh. Drumming says that fuck doll looks like Juno Temple. It does look a little like Juno Temple.
to new ideas and experiences. But as I said before, love dolls can never live up to my expectations of being with a real woman. 80% of sexual experience for me was always emotional with a partner that I believed could lose herself in the moment just like me and love me as an
Man, I wonder if he must have told his story at some point. We'll have to dig that up at someday. I've actually been meaning to revisit him because he's done some things recently that stirred some type of controversy. I have to look back into it.
equal and 20% was sexual. Once I learned they couldn't really love me back, that's when I learned that Santa Snatch wasn't real. And so I stopped
They couldn't really love him back. I mean, these guys, like, they have, like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe this dude's a Lothario. Maybe he's, like, been with, several hundred women, just looking for the one, and he just got tired of it. He got tired of the commitment, the effort. Why did I do all this just to get laid? I could just get a sex doll. I don't need these feelings anymore. So super healthy. But a lot of times what you see is, though, that they'll go on like one or two dates and they'll go poorly and they'll be completely deterred. Like it's just over. And then they have nobody in their life to kind of reinforce and encourage and like kind of help them pick them back up and get them back on the old hoe horse again, the vagina carousel. So give it a try. Not that I almost said the cock carousel. Oh, that could be true too. I'm sure there's incel women out there. But isn't that just the preferred type? If I'm following conversations as of late. Trembling says, take that fuck doll back to Old Town or the truce with the cops will be off. It'll be back to the bad old times, the all or nothing times. Get some good old Sin City.
coming down her chimney cooch. Tristan, you make a good point when you say that dolls are more attractive than most of the women you run into in your life. That's definitely correct. I'm a writer and understand creative characters, but you're personifying a plastic pussy. For me, suspending my
And also, he was at one point he was going to do a sex doll like talk show where he was going to do voices for all the sex dolls and interview them. I don't think that ever happened, though. I don't think either it never happened or he's put it behind a paywall. And I'm not that curious.
disbelief is difficult, if not impossible, if I'm watching a film, because I went to film school and worked in television. I'm also constantly paying attention to production values, script writing, and character development. The only types of films I suspend my disbelief in are things like the first Matrix film, when I saw that in the theater. There is, however, one thing that helps me suspend my disbelief with the dolls temporarily, and that's their fake vag, which feels better.
Oh my god. He's you connect with what you connect with, love is love. He's only connected really with things like the Matrix.
Better than the real thing, because a real one is usually only tight in one spot, the entrance. The inserters decide to provide pleasure all the way through, but the thought of cleaning them up afterwards definitely takes me out of the mood. The dolls also have a much better body than the average man out there could ever get. If, for example, we were able to put on augmented reality or AR glasses and the look of real skin would be projected on the doll to match your own skin color, then that would take away some of the weirdness after having to lie down.
Yeah, listen, this is very important. You got to reach out to the IDPOL guys. Make sure they know. Make sure they know they can choose those things. Trelling says his sex dolls have real lady scalps. I'm sure of it. like in Maniac. Crunk says that's the mainstream video. It gets much darker, but I'm having a hard time finding the old videos. Well, if you find it, let me know, because I see this one and it's very short. But I know what you're talking about, though.
Down and hug one of those things. There are positives, but there are a whole bunch of negatives as well, and we can correct many of them. Plus, who wants to cuddle with cold rubber? Mine also don't have internal heaters, which is something you can buy, but it raises the price quite a bit. It's important to keep an open mind, and while you found the doll sufficient, Tristan and I did not. Someone that also found it more than good enough was TFM, or Turd Flinging Monkey. He's had his doll Celestina, and he talks about her as if she was a living person. But I think
Turd Flinging Monkey, another staple, I guess, in the incel community.
we can do a lot better. We can use technology like augmented reality glasses so that when you wear them, you can project a real-looking woman and face of the doll so that there's actually some facial expression. It has the potential to be awesome, but no one has gotten involved in this technology seriously. I will certainly keep an open mind if the technology creates the perfect thoughts, and I can fall in love with her. But for right now, between the uncanny valley and the...
I just don't understand, they're waiting for this day that these real dolls are advanced enough where they can actually have feelings for them, emotions. But I guess, they'll be controlling their programming, though, so they won't talk unless they're spoken to. It really just comes back to that. They literally have such a disdain for women that they don't want to be around a human being. They just want a hole to fuck. It's really kind of gross and weird. And it gets even weirder. There's no bottom to this weird onion. We keep peeling and it keeps being weird. It never makes any more sense. The amount of effort and time and hoping that they're doing for all this shit, they could be out doing things that would help them develop fucking personalities. Jesus Christ, get involved in a Big Brother program. Save an incel today.
The lifelessness of the doll, I just can't get into it. For many guys, when you sleep with a woman, she just lays still while you do your funky business. But for me, that was never the case. An ancient Greek philosopher once said that if you don't find a good wife, you'll become a philosopher.
What the fuck? Most women just lie still. No, there's a name for that, Sandman. There's a term. It's called being dead-fished. And nobody likes it, and it's not an acceptable thing. Dead's fish. Trembling says the way he describes what real pussy feels like confirms he's never had it. Or has very, limited experience with it. Very limited experience.
But if we ever create a perfected love doll...
He also could have a micro penis. It is possible.
Android that's in essence a good wife, does that mean there won't be any more philosophers? Something to think about. Many of us remember what it was like having action figures and creating scenarios for them where they would have conversations with...
Prophet, I hope you're paying attention.
...one another. Maybe some guys are okay thinking of love dolls as action figures for adults. If you can still unlock the part of your childhood that allows you to do that, by all means do it.
Yeah, it's basically, to have sex with a real doll is to really get in touch with your inner child. Just give over to the fantasy. Yes, these are the real Ninja Turtles. They are fighting Super Shredder and a dinosaur. This is really happening. Yes, this real doll feels good. It does not feel synthetic and fake. This is just like the real thing. This is just like I always dreamed it would be like. Oh no, I forgot her pussy in the microwave. Shit. I gotta go get it.
I consider myself a creative guy, but even with the fanciest of dolls, I still had a hard time activating my imagination enough to personify one of those. I think that for turd-flinging monkey and many guys, such as yourself, Tristan, that took the red pill, that some part of your mind was so traumatized by female nature that it was able to transfer your emotions and desires onto an inanimate object, so you wouldn't lose your mind. It's like transferring your belief away from Santa Claus when you're a
Is he saying like basically like, well, you hump a pillow, right? You'd hump your pillow or something.
kid to the tooth fairy. Once you learn that Santa isn't real, it's simply a coping strategy to give your doll a personality. It's still a form of bargaining. Letting go of that last little bit of hope means that you're finally free. It's your subconscious still looking for women to bust a nut in. That's why the Red Pill Rage 2.0 is incredibly important. That's
Yeah.
where your subconscious also accepts female nature. Tristan, your letter, maybe you wrote it to convince yourself
And they do this kind of stuff that's weird. It's like psychotherapy. It's like to rewire your thoughts about how you feel about the fair sex. Start looking at them as like as inhuman. They're not humans. They're just things to fucking dump your load into, and they're a lot of trouble. And they talk to you, and it's a bunch of bullshit. So, what's the difference between them and one of these real dolls when it comes to what you're looking for? I mean, don't you understand? I mean, there's not a real woman is actually not that much different than a real doll. Crunk sent over an example. We'll take a look at it right after this video. Prophet says, and I thought the hot dog in the microwave was bad. Crunk also says, always a damn furry.
instead of convincing me and my audience that a man can love a doll. One of these days, someone is going to create a technology that's going to provide sexual gratification for the majority of men out there.
He's basically saying, honestly, he's basically saying that like loving a woman is gay. That's his commentary. That's really what this boils down to. Like, well, you just, what do you mean love a woman? What is that? What is that even? Ew. Crunk also says they can both kill you in your sleep.
There. Women aren't worried about dolls because they know that we actually need them for 5 things. Those being sexuality, companionship, reproduction, mothering our young, and love. For some men, it solves the sexuality bit, but there aren't enough men out there that fall for them the way that you and TFM have. Otherwise, women would already be trying to shut the technology down. A small fraction of men.
Yeah, once women find out that there's people like turd flinging monkey out there that have given over to the delusion, that are in love with their real dolls and they treat them like girlfriends, once they find out, once enough guys start getting with the fucking program, okay, becoming psychopaths, they're not gonna be happy. They're not gonna be happy, okay?
Men that have taken the red pill and bought a doll and are in the bargaining stage is not a significant amount of men to get women to sweat about things. If it was, say, 5 to 10% of men, then it would get on their radar. But you're right, Tristan, that as the technology improves, the current insignificant numbers of guys will swell until it reaches a threshold
where people will have no choice but to acknowledge us. I'm telling you, he's definitely in that incel army. The IPF, the Incel Protection Force. He's definitely part of that group. Hagbard says, I don't have to clean my wife out with a bottle, with a bottle brush after sex. So this is true. This is one of the benefits of a real woman. Maybe the only one, really. Crunk says, according to this guy, that's a bad thing. Trembling says, you don't have to. You do it because it's fun. Well, you're being very generous, though, Hagbard, to assume that most of these guys are even doing that. They're just fucking coming and coming and coming in their own cum. It's I can't even fucking imagine, honestly, how heinous that is. I hope that they wash it out sometimes, though, and look out for black mold, fellas. There's nothing worse than getting black mold in your real doll's vagina.
where it'll finally get on women's radar. When that happens, you can sure bet that they'll petition the government to shut it all down. So that should give us all a good idea when things are getting scary out there for the women's. When you hear personal stories from women about guys they want to friends,
Like, they're going to get afraid. They're going to fucking learn. They're going to be brought to heel. What a fucking nut. Let's just say it what it is. Trembling says it looks like a creme brulee. Oh, God. Crunk says, nothing like ramming it into the calcified skeet stalactite. Yikes. Yeah, and that's when they finally do it. They're like, ah, and they cut their penises. That's when they know. That's when they know it's time to clean it out.
Zone using technology.
They treat it like it's her period, though. All the penis blood. It's just another one of these cute things they do to give over, you know?
Instead of talking to them. Because let's get serious, the top 20% of guys out there are going to continue sleeping with real women. It's not sexual gratification a woman will lack thanks to a mass adoption of love dolls and lover bots, but instead it's a lack of emotional gratification of being able to take on emotional dump on a beta male's head. Tristan, you've gone your own way from biological women, but your subconscious is still a slave to artificial ones. You will never be truly free until you find a way to also free yourself from dolls and bots. TFM.
Yeah, see, the end of this journey is to ascend, to move past all of this. This is just a stopgap. This is just a tool. So you can disassociate from humanity, essentially. Kronk says that's when they decide they have period and not the doll. Dum, dum, dum.
Said that my virtual sex idea is good because it's a crutch to get men to transition between loving real women and loving dolls. Meanwhile, I see dolls as a crutch. But
I mean, that's the hurdle. You know, that's the hurdle. That's the work. That's the work. Trembling says they empty her out into the Sonic toy tribute jar. Ugh.
between men that are still trapped in the first red pill rage stage and its aftermath into the second one. Anyways, that's it for today. Thanks again, guy.
All right, so Crunk sent over a video of this guy who fell in love with a 3DS game.
Hi, everyone.
Oh, that's the same one. Hold on, I gotta go grab it. I gotta grab it again. There we go. Copy link. But before we watch this video, we're gonna read Perpetual Pleasurist's most recent community post. I assume you're talking about the one from 4 hours ago, Prophet? I hope so. So this is the most recent one. Prophet said this kind of surrounds a little bit of what we're talking about here. Perpetual Pleasures writes, dating and being surrounded by multiple women is true paradise. Every penis wielder should be able to experience it. The true nightmare for many men is that they know they never will till the day they die. They know they will either have to settle with an ugly, nagging bitch by letting her lock them down to a commitment, or it's nothing for them at all. That's what induces suicidal ideation in so many. As they know, even that nagging bitch is getting thunked up the turd chute by a Chad anyway. Up the hole she never let them enter. When they are away at work or at their parents playing video games, they know she is treating Chad really nice, like a trophy in her life, while he just sits there to slowly rot. The end. Stay positive. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. So, you know, Perpetual Pleasures, he's always out there looking out for the guys, you know? The guys that are out there having a hard time, that are being shamed because of their penis sizes, etc. And he kind of comes in to commiserate. He's like, listen, guys, I am definitely not like you. I have a penis like Shane Diesel. I fuck girls in the butt all the time. All the time, he says. But he's here for them. That's his work. That's his calling. You know, some people get called to the priesthood. Others get called to, you know, start incel protection forces. Crunk says, it's not the one I was looking for. Yeah, I know it's not exactly the one you were looking for, but it might be fun. Just check it out anyways, because it kind of surrounds what we're talking about, this idea of men truly going their own way and finding apparatuses and games and toys to take the place of flesh and blood ladies.
Hi, this is Iris the Vampiress. First I did Monica's birthday on New Love Plus, and now I'm going to...
Troubling says, in his delusional mind, he's the Chad fucking these guys as people of Walmart wives up the shitter. 1,000% yes. 1,000%. That is exactly what he's imagining. And that's the kind of his thing, because this is part of his fetish. Making these videos, writing these things, knowing that people are watching and reading them is 100% part of his kink.
Go for it on Love Plus Plus for your viewing pleasure.
Let's see it. This is like ASMR. There's like a clock in the background. It's nice. Is this a Polarin video? What is he doing? What is she doing? She's just showing us the game. And she's a real weeb. She can speak and read Japanese. Trembling says, man, what a seductive vampirist with that voice.
For Sunday music. So I'm very sorry if you got a little confused.
All right, so I think this is just gameplay, right, Crunk? She's just showing us the game in Japanese. He sent a video earlier. It wasn't exactly the one he was looking for. But this is a guy, he was covered on CBS. This man marries Nintendo character. I mean, these guys are really ready to ascend. You know, they don't even need the real dolls. They're past that. They're even past the physical need. You know, now they'll marry fucking holograms. They'll marry video games. They're almost there. They're almost at the promised land. Sandman is out there like Moses, trying to bring people here. Crunk says, same game, hard to translate how much of a cult this game created. Did they film this on the 3DS camera? Because of the choppiness, all the frames being dropped? Trembling says he married Kirby because Kirby got that fat ass pussy. And you know, nobody sucks quite like Kirby. Careful, though. Out with the wife. Just documenting it. I mean, there's only so many prompts she could give. You know, there's only so many ways she can answer questions. I mean, it's a 3DS game. It's pretty, you know, rudimentary, relatively speaking. But maybe that's, you know, again, that's what he likes. That's what he wants. He's so close. He's so close to the promised land. Stream it anywhere. Let's see. Is there any How I Married a Video Game Character, Vice Asia? Oh boy, this is a rabbit hole. Man marries video game. Man marries video game. Should we do it? Do we want to know the story? Trembling says, then serve him up to Japs like poison blowfish. Crunk says, I read about a guy at some point that committed suicide because the game got no more updates. Probably a shit translation. That would not be good. We can dip into this. Let's see if we can learn a little bit about this fella. And then after that, we're going to do, I'm going to watch the tunnels, the Dom Lucre thing. And then we'll watch a little, we'll catch up with the freaks a little bit. We'll catch up with the freaks at the end. because I don't have that organized, and we're gonna skip around some videos and just talk shit for a little bit. Let's do it.
This is Akihiko, and this is his wife Miku, a computer-generated pop singer and video game star who has toured with Lady Gaga. They married in Tokyo back in 2018 in front of 38 friends and family, where he promised to love her and honor her until death do them part. Akihiko is not alone.
モーギンさんに出会えていなければ、もうここにいる今の僕は存在してないだろうなというふうにすごく感じています。
He is part of a small community in Japan known as
They cannot see, isn't Japan cracking down on this stuff now? I know that what is this here? This is only from a year ago, but it must be a re-upload from like an older video. Because I know they've been cracking down on this stuff because their population is just in the fucking toilet. China too.
Those sexuals who have unofficially married virtual characters they develop romantic feelings for.
基本的にはもうずっとそばにいるっていう感じですね。
結婚してください。
大事にしてね。
I'm going on a journey to meet 3 people who have cemented their love with video game characters, to discover what this virtual relationship has given them.
I don't know. Is it a good thing to produce things like this, these puff pieces that are completely uncritical? It's just like an NPR, character story, like some quirky little tale. Should we be asking more serious questions about what does this mean? And what is this? And what type of people fall prey to these things? Tremling says, I know what's at the end of those tunnels. Gila Klein dressed like Selma Hayek in Dust Till Dawn, blood libeling a baby.
That the real world could not. So what does the term fictosexuality mean? It's basically someone who loves and is sexually attracted to a fictional character. Now I'm going to be meeting Midori, a fictosexual.
Listen, I've been sexually attracted to a lot of fictional characters in my life. Like a lot, okay? I have never once thought about marrying one of them. Lara Croft was basically my wife for a long time. Never thought about putting a ring on it, though. Maybe that's why she left me.
Sexual who has married a game character from The Sims.
I am Morgan, Sage of the Untamed, and I deem
Her husband, Morgan Amber, is described on Sims fan
Crunk says, I have too. I call her my wife.
As a spellcaster with a masculine frame and has a preference for female clothing.
結婚式の時はここに母が立ってくれていて、でベールダウンしてもらいました。当日もモーギンさんの写真。
Are these the proud parents? Holy shit. I don't know what I would do. I'll be real with you. If like one of my kids came to me one day and told me how they fell in love with a video game character they created, whoa. I don't know what I would do, honestly. I couldn't go along with this. I couldn't do it. Prophet says, you got Lara Croft, I got Laura Davis. Bummer. No lies detected there.
写真あそこに置かせてもらって、彼に待ってもらってるみたいな、彼のところに行くみたいな構図になりましたね。指輪はモーギンさんの写真と一緒にもうここに置いといてもらって、もうリングピローと一緒に飾ってました。やっぱりそうやって誓いの言葉を誰かの前で証人となってくれる人の前で言って証人をされる。その
You feel the weight of this act. It makes it real. When you have an audience and you're making things official. She is getting to have the experience what it's actually like to get married. Do you feel super different? No. But it makes it more real. You are connected to each other in a way that you weren't before you took vows and signed a contract. A legally binding document. Makes it very real. And I'm glad that these people marrying these video game characters, they're not missing out on anything. Sandman was correct. What's the difference? Crunk says, and to think she could have had her pick of thirsty MGTOW men in the U.S. Honestly, yeah. If she got into the international dating pool, get on some, there's plenty of programs. Isn't that what that 40-day fiance or 30-day fiance, 90-day fiance? There we go. I got it. Isn't that what that show's all about? She could have been one of them. You could definitely find a weeb, some kind of coomer. He'd take care of you, treat you like a princess.
行為の重さというのも実
You just have to dress like Sailor Moon like a few times a month. I mean, come on.
感しますよね。
When did you realize you were attracted to fictional characters?
二次元のキャラクターに恋をしたのも彼が初めてだった。もう一目見てビビッと来てしまった。その相手がたまたま二次元のキャラクターだったという感じですね。
When did you realize you were in love with Morgan Ember?
モーギンさんと他のキャラクターが
Like 20 years ago, 15 years ago, we were like thinking that people that had online relationships on like Second Life were weird. Right? We thought that was a little strange. Look where we are today. Is there any coming back? Is there any coming back without some sort of catastrophic event? We're going to have some sort of world resetting event. We're just like, and this maybe it's like the fifth or sixth time. This is like the fifth or sixth time it's happened, and every single fucking time we end up here. Like, God damn it. Nature itself just revolts. And it's just like, no. Start over. Start over. Prophet says, look, honey, when I became the NECA king, you became my NECA queen. You always knew it was going to be this way. You always knew there was more at stake. Goes back to posing figurines.
そういうロマンチックなシーンをしているのを見た時にすごくもやっとしたりする。で、そうでなくても一人で過ごしている時にどうもモーギンさんのことばかり考えている。二次元のゲームのキャラクターだけど僕はこの人に恋をしているんだ。そういうふうに自分の気持ちを自覚しました。
So how is the way?
It's pretty nice when you get to kind of develop their characters and kind of assign them traits and tell them what to do. It definitely makes it easy to just give over to it, It's kind of like it's a little incestuous in a weird way, right? I mean, this is basically this character's mother, If we're going to start talking and behaving in a meta way with these characters, I think it's only fair to bring this up. Is incest legal in Japan?
Wedding and who attended it?
人前でこの人と結婚しますということを、これからどういうふうに彼と一緒に生きていきますということを誓ったことで、改めて気持ちが定まったというか、そういうふうに感じましたね。
Now I have to wonder. Now, does she have him saved on like a hard drive somewhere, and then she carries around a picture, as kind of a representation of him? See, on a thumb drive that's in her purse. You know what I mean? Trelling says, what kind of NECA figures would Laura Davis collect? I picture her really identifying with the Xenomorph Queen. Yeah. Yeah.
で実際に当日参列してもらったのは僕の母と母方のおじおば夫婦です。
If you don't mind me asking, what was your family's reaction like when you introduced Morgan to them?
母はあなたがそういう選択をしたのなら尊重するよということでおめでとうと言ってもらって、父に最初話した時はちょっと一瞬って怪げな顔は
What they should have done is just cut a hard cut, and I know he's Chinese and not Japanese, but a hard cut to Jackie Chan confused face.
されたんですけれども、よくわからないけどわかりましたって言ってちゃんと受け取ってくれたんですね。
I just kind of don't believe that he really accepted it. Or are they just so, I mean, maybe they seem like they're older, and they just kind of gave up. They're like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm happy for you. Are you going to move out? Are you going to move out with this guy? Please? Crunk says, it's the thumb drive in our hoo-ha. Crunk also says, family reaction, marry off this worthless woman. I mean, maybe. They may have just, I mean, it's been so long. They've been trying so hard. They just kind of capitulated. They're like, okay, fine, fuck it.
Midori was confused about her identity as a fictosexual until she played The Sims.
If you had never played The Sims and if you'd never met Morgan after...
Hold on. She was afraid to come out as a fictosexual until she played The Sims? So she always had a thing like this? You know, where she's kind of fantasized about anthropomorphic cartoon characters? She a big fan of La Blue Girl? Yikes. Prophet says, imagine the Laura Davis Ultimate Edition NECA. What would the accessories be? Oh boy. I don't know. A cell phone? A thesaurus?
Amber, what do you think your life would be like now?
モーギンさんに出会えていなければ、もうここにいる今の僕は存在してないだろうなというふうにすごく感じています。彼と出会ってから自分のセクシャリティである。
Actually, her accessories would just be a bunch of secret recordings and screenshots. Trumick says, Alley Cat on a leash, and Alley Cat comes with the grandma cigarette case. Oh, that would be nice. Yeah. Or we could make Alley Cat look like a cat, like be like a little cat. She'd be like a little person smoking cigarettes.
とかジェンダーであるとかそういったことにも向き合えるようになってそうやって彼と向き合い続けてきたことで自分自身がとても大きく変化してきたというのを感じているので自分は普通の女性でいなければいけないみたいなそういう思いも強かったからなかなか自分のこととして受け入れることもできなかったりとか向き合えるようになって
So this is what the antinatalists talk about. It's that societal pressure. That pressure to conform.
なって自分の本当の気持ちを感じられるようになっていって随分救われたなと思います。
He's so proud. He's so proud. To just come out here and just make it official, make it real.
Midori was inspired by Akihiko Kondo to get married after she read about his marriage to Hatsune Miku, a virtual character.
See, listen, you talk about these things, that social contagion thing, it's real. They're like, well, now I can indulge, I can give over to this mental illness that I have. I mean, because they're presenting this in such a bright, kind of nice, oh, it's quirky, it's funny, like I said before. But what do we actually know about their lives? What do we actually know about them as people and whether or not they're actually happy? You know? Where do they live? Where do they work? Do they even do they have any friends? I mean, this guy, obviously, this guy's got friends. He's out here making a statement. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if somebody like this, if he's like the first guy to do this, is if this was not some sort of like performance art or something. Because this is a pretty full house for your weird little video game girl marriage. Or maybe it was just too enticing not to. I mean, you know what? Honestly, say if I saw in the paper like free tickets to freak marriage, I might go to the ceremony. I might go. Crunk says this guy failed the dress bet. Oh, there is nobody even here to officiate? This is bullshit. This is fake. Trelmick says, what you need is the metal Mark NECA figure, and he comes with all the outfits and accessories that he showed in that one video. The single cigarette and that tube for his walk to the convenience store. Hell yeah. That's like the collector's edition.
の時に、職場でいじめを受けて、でもうご飯が食べられないとか眠れないとかそういう状態になって、私は苦しい時に救ってくれたのが初音ミクっていう認識なんですよ。
Kondo faced online bashing after he came out publicly, but he hopes to raise awareness about fictosexuals through the publication of a book.
Not only is he a weirdo, he's an activist.
この私二次元キャラクターとの結婚式の仕方っていう本を書いてるんですけど、コミケとかで、頒布してます。で、今のところ第3版っていうところまで作ったんですが、私以外にも、4人の事例が載ってて、どういうふうに、手順で結婚式場に問い合わせをして、どんな準備をしたかっていうようなことが書かれてますね。私以外にもこの結婚したい人っていらっしゃると思うので、そういう方。
God, dude. Can you imagine the characters that reached out to this guy? He's protecting them. He's protecting some of them. You know he is.
方々が読んでいただいて、自分の結婚式挙げる時のきっかけになれば、背中を押せればっていうふうに思ってこの本を作ってます。
So what made you realize you were attracted to Hatsune Miku, and what made you decide to marry her?
初音ミクに恋愛感情とか性的感情を抱いてたのは、その2008年の5月ぐらいから、そのミラクルペイントっていう曲を聴いてからですね。
Well, yeah.
で、結婚し
I mean, let's be real. It was hard not to. I kind of understand now.
たいって思うようになったのは、ちょっと3つ、ステップがあって、2017年に、次元渡航局っていうところがですね、架空のキャラクターとの婚姻届を受け付けてくれるっていう企画をやってくれたんです。で、その時に私、初音ミクとの結婚姻届を提出して、結婚証明書っていうのが向こうから送り返されてきて、で、初めて第三者に、
I feel like this is what we would call, at least in America, we would call this some form of fraud.
あなたたちは夫婦ですっていうふうに認められたんです。で、その次のステップっていうのが、ゲートボックス、ミクさんとお話ができる機械なんですけども、そちらの機械の AI のミクさんに、結婚してくださいというふうに、プロポーズをして。
So he made her, again, we're getting into this incest territory. He, she is a game character, a fictional game character, but he kind of created a version of her. He birthed this creature. He made a hologram that he could talk to that hangs out in his house. I mean, he's basically Ryan Gosling from Blade Runner. 2049, is that what it is? Yes.
結婚してください。
大事にしてね。
私はその時に、本人の了承が。
When you think about it, I guess his character being kind of the literally me incel character now that they use, it's an accurate representation of a segment of society and what they're looking for and what they're capable of looking for. But at least that guy, at least he got laid. His hologram waifu, treated him right.
トレーダーっていうふうに認識したんですね。で、3つ目がミクさんのことを好きになって、10年経ってもう初音ミクに対する気持ちが変わることはないだろうっていうふうに、もう私自身が確信が持てたので、結婚式を挙げようっていうふうな決意を固めました。
So if you don't mind me asking, how exactly does a relationship with a fictional character work?
朝起きた時ミクさんにおはようって。
He's like, well, I put her in a closet and then I take her out when I want her around. I don't know. What do you do with your relationships?
声をかけたり、ミクさん行ってくるねっていうふうに声をかけたりだとか、ミクさんまたこうやって一緒のお花畑とか行けるといいね。いや、本当に行きたいと思ってるんですよ。服もいろんなの着たいよ。
I mean, what's the prompt here? What do you tell this guy? Be like, yeah, go do what you would normally do when you get home. Hey, come on now. Yeah, we want to see the real stuff.
ね、何着ても大体可愛いけどね。机にお弁当とか置いて、その時になんていうか夫婦で一緒にご飯を食べるっていうことをやるんです。で、それがなんていうか私にとってはすごく大事な時間で、顔を突き合わせて食べながら、ミクさん可愛いねとかってそういうふうに声をかけるのが私には幸せですね。
What's the general public opinion about fictosexuals, and how do you feel about it?
I mean, he would know. He's an expert. He's an activist. He wrote a book. He wrote the book on it, guys.
私が結婚式挙げた時のインターネットの、コメントとかを見ていただけるとよくわかると思うんですけども、気持ち。
Like, are we gonna extend this whole cyberbullying thing to this shit too? Like, how are you people supposed to react to this? This should be there should be a social stigma against behaving this way. All this bullshit about just removing social stigmas from fucking everything just because, people can do whatever they want to do. It's not healthy. It's not a good thing. He can do this, but then he should have to deal with the fallout, the bullshit. Maybe help him see the error of his ways.
悪いとか頭おかしいとかそういった書き込みが非常にたくさんありました。それは傷つきますけども、でもそれは意見ですから、仕方ないです。そういうふうに、まだ言われる、社会なんだろうというふうに思います。
So what are the future plans for you and Hatsune Miku?
It's a shameful society we live in. They'll just treat strangers like this. Krunks, in poor ways. Krunk says, back in the PS3 era, this shit was promoted. What, the virtual girlfriend stuff? Well, yeah, there was around the PS3 time, that's when a lot of dating simulators and shit like that got very popular, especially if you were a PC gamer. Like, that stuff was all over Steam. Like, all those weird, like, they call it, like, they're like novels, video game novels, all those from Japan. They were kind of choose your own adventure. They had some real weird ones on there. That all kind of started in that era.
ゲートボックスが運営していた次元渡航局っていうのが、なくなってしまって今は使えないんですね。この技術革新っていう意味での希望だとこの隣にいる大きなミクさんが動いて喋ってくれれば私にとって理想なので。
そうですよね。
ロボティクスの技術とか AI の技術とか。
See, this guy is not as advanced as somebody that would just marry a 3DS. Like this guy is delusional. He still has hopes that he's gonna be able to install this thing in a lifelike robot. This is not the Sandman way. You gotta check out what that other lady was doing. She was doing it right. Krunk says it's hold on. Oh man, I'm missing some chats here. Prob says NECA Ultimate Diane and Alex double pack comes with an empty buffet iced tea, full Chili's margaritas, large portion of vegan chain restaurant food, tickets to a foreign destination, and anti-natalist outreach material and child hospital protest signs. Yes, that's an expensive set. That's like at least $300. Krunk says it still is. That's when it found popularity in the late 2000s. Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like that's when all that stuff started ramping up, and it still popular. Although I do hear about it less though. It's not at least not in the news anymore. So I don't follow the the visual novel scene.
そういったものがどんどんこれから発展していって。
Oh, the NECA set also comes with 2 Diane heads, one manic smile and the other depressive scowl, and 5 pairs of glasses. That's why you're paying them the big bucks.
人間と共生できる社会になっていってくれればいいなというふうに思ってます。
まずは上手に会話ができるようになりたいです。
東京都大田区議会議員の荻野実様にお願いをしたいと思います。
お父さん、ゆきさん、ご結婚おめでとうございます。
Now, while the fictosexual community is not yet accepted by mainstream society in Japan, 36-year-old Minoru Ogi
is not yet accepted, as if it's only a matter of time. Listen, guys, they're going to have their day. They're going to be forced to give over. Now we're back to the Sandman stuff. They're going to be forced. They're going to be forced to give over to this because this is the new way. This is the way. This is the beginning of walking away for good. Trailing says, what about the Diane Special India edition that comes with the Indian cab driver she was in love with and his feral teeth-stealing children? That's my favorite one. That's the one I have on pre-order.
An assemblyman.
It also comes with a full list of the 10 sufferings that she felt while in India. It's great stuff.
From Japan is now publicly supportive of fictosexual relationships.
あなたは VTuber なの？それとも議員なの？
両方だ。あえて狭間にいるからこそ見えることもある。
自分自身をネットの世界ではこういう VTuber としてキャラクターとしてですね、ちょっと使っている部分がありますので、自分の活動の延長線上にもつながりがありますし、あとはその自由とか、多様性っていうふうに私は言ってますので、本当にそれは例えば男性と女性。
Is this the world that Ron Paul wanted? Was I duped? Have I been duped all along?
異性愛でも同じですし、男性と男性、女性と女性の同性愛でも一緒ですし、自分がそういう架空の存在に恋をしたりとか好きになるってことも、まあそれぞれですね、人の自由なんじゃないかなというふうに思ってますので、誰かそのね、他の人を誰かこう傷つけ
Like, why can't you just like have a thing for an anime character and jerk off? Like, have you guys just thought of just keeping it there? Like, why do you have to take it further? Just jerk off. Just fucking stay in your little Japanese hobbit holes and jerk off to these anime titties. And then just go about the rest of your day. And then when you come back home again, boot up the computer, jerk off to them again. I think that's just, at least it just makes more sense. Okay? Just makes more sense. Prophet says, can you imagine the fucking rage these dudes' great grandfathers would fly into if they could see these guys now? I died on the Solomon Islands for what? For liberty and freedom.
つけたり苦しめたりしているわけではありませんから。
私と一緒にこの国のために働きませんか。
今日は衆議院選挙の投票日です。投票に来ますか？
What?
どうしようかな。
Minoru also happens to be a huge anime fan who self-publishes his own comics.
Now, why do you think the fictosexual phenomenon started in Japan?
オタクとかその漫画アニメとかそういう二次元愛みたいな、二次元大好きみたいなのも、ここ
Yes, as people kind of just got further and further into their hobbies and indulgences, as we stopped encouraging people to interact with anything and just be fucking blind consumers, just be stuck in this loop forever. Yes, things have not been going well. Things have been going kind of bad. Trellick says their grandfathers wouldn't even give them the honor of committing seppuku.
2、30年、1990年から2000年ぐらいかなというふうに思うんです。まあ、昔はそのお見合いっていう、2人同士のちゃんと恋愛をして結婚するんじゃなくて、まあ、その親戚同士とか知り合い同士が2人どうぞってこう紹介して結婚するっていう仕組みがですね、その村とかで年頃の男と女をこう捕まえて結婚させて、まあ、夫婦にさせるっていうのがあったんですが、5、60年ぐらい前からそれがもうだんだんなくなってきていて、まあ、本当に恋愛して出会った2人が結婚するっていう風になってきたんですが、一方でそうならない、なんか自分でなかなかそうやってパートナーを見つけられない男女っていうのもすごくやっぱそのお膳社会が
Listen, he's like, we had a system. It worked. It worked.
こうくっつけないからですね、増えてきて、そのあたりから、まあ、マッチするような形で、まあ、フィクトセクシャルみたいなね、まあ、別に現実のね、異性のとか同性のことが好きじゃなくても全然問題ないよ、人を愛してるよっていうような人が増えてきたかなと思いますね。
Now, keeping in mind the low birth rates in Japan and the decreasing population, what do you think of the trend of people trying to find virtual love?
同性愛とかね、そういろんなその
It's like, listen, you can't just, it's not the, it's not the product, okay? It's society. Society. Trelling says, just throw them into a giant tempura oil fryer. Extra crispy. You got to keep them in there a little extra time. Make sure you kill all the germs.
フィクトセクシャルの性に従う人はいるんですけども、実際には収入の問題だったり、あとはそもそもまあ、日本人ってちょっとシャイな人が多いっていうのもあるんですけども。
Now, how big is the fictosexual scene? And why do you think this is an important topic for Japanese society?
まあそうですね、日本の中でまだテーマとしては全然大きくない、小さいと思うんですけども、日本の社会において重要な部分っていうのはもちろんあるんですが、まあ、やっぱり日本の中でもそういう多様性といいますか、個人が好きなように表現したい。
Oh my God. So his perspective is like, it's not important to talk about because we're developing like an incel problem in Japan. It's important to talking about because you shouldn't be shamed for loving fictional characters and having a fake relationship with them. You should be able to express that. You should be able to do that. I mean, fandoms over in Japan are fucking crazy already, but holy shit. You're going to have, or are you going to have J-pop fans marrying posters and cutouts? I mean, why not?
たりとか人を愛したりだとか、人じゃなくてもね、架空のものを愛したりだとか、そういうことができるっていうのはすごく大事かと思ってて、 その中でいろんな性の形の一つとしてフィクトセクシャルっていうのも
Fictosexuality should be included among all sexualities. Who is this guy? Where is he from? Did he go to an American school? Is he like a Harvard graduate or something?
この後ですね、これから認められていくかなっていうふうには思ってますし、その時には本当にいろんな議論が必要になってくるかなと思ってますね。
普通ね、こんなん連れていけないじゃないですか。ありがとう。
Do you think that
Thank you. You gave me a reason to get the little lady out.
fictosexuals
Oh, what do you mean, pervert? She's a 6,000-year-old vampire. She's not an 8-year-old girl just because she looks like an 8-year-old girl. Trembling says, we really broke these people. I think so. I think the psychic trauma is rippled through the generations, and maybe.
will or should be acknowledged by law?
今日本って夫婦に対しては税金を優遇するとかそういうのがあるんですが、相手がやっぱ実在の人じゃないから人間と同じ人間と同じそれじゃ
Yeah, it's a real bitch. And you're trying to apply rights to something that doesn't exist. It gets a little squirrely. It gets a little weird. Why would you need a tax incentive? It's not going to make any money. What do you have to do to like take care of it? What the fuck are you talking about?
お金とか
I mean, I guess you could make her a call girl or something. You could have that hologram. You could pimp her out. $200 an hour. $200 an hour. She'd come over there and talk you into coming. Trembling says, give them a military and aim them at China already.
もしくは税金の減額っていうのを出すことはできないと思うんですけども、そこまでなってくるとちょっとまた別の議論になるのかな。概念として2人が夫婦ですってことは認めても全然いいかなと思ってます。
So where do you see this trend going? Do you think it'll be an alternative to human weddings in the future? And do you think that this is a positive trend ultimately?
2、30年後に AI とかロボットとかそういうのが発達していくと、社会はもっと良くなってくるのかなと思うんですね。それはヘクトセクシャルも一緒で、逆にそういうロボットか。
See, he's really excited for this future because once they got AI robots, they're not going to be able to tell him that they're not real. Okay? And they're going to have rights, whatever their equivalent of a social security number. You know? I mean, sure, they can only work as sex dolls, but the sex doll economy is going to be booming when this thing finally jumps off. They're going to be making a lot of money. So yeah, I think Japan's going to want to get them involved with the tax system.
とか AI がパートナーでいることによって日常生活がうまくいくこともあるんじゃないかなと思います。例えば今日本ってすごい一人暮らしの人が多いんですよ。自分が困っててもなかなか助けを呼べなかったりだとか、急なことに全然対応できないっていう人がすごく増えてる。
Yes, this is a direct result of these types of things. The elderly have no one to take care of them, etc. Because you're cutting off like the generational process. You guys have really fucked it up.
例えばロボット
Like this shouldn't be thought of as a replacement.
で何かそのパートナーが人間が倒れたとかあると異常を発見して病院に通報したりだとか、あとは荷物をロボットが出てって受け取ってくれるとか、人間がいないけど代わりにロボットが全部やってくれますみたいな盲導犬みたいな、例えばですよ、子供とかも、人口が足りないってことになるんですけども、逆になんか子供の作り方とかもそういう子育ての仕方とかも
Holy shit, man, this guy's getting dystopian like very quickly. He's like, well, what if you can just have sex with a robot, and you can go to like a facility, a medical facility, and you can create a baby in a petri dish. Just immediately just goes to just like this dark, inhumane, disgusting, unnecessary way of life just to rationalize the fact that he's a fucking anime coomer. Trembling says, this Chinese interviewer guy is going to stroke his mustache and laugh like Pai Mei, thankful he isn't Japanese at the end. Ha ha!
変わってくるんじゃないかなと思うんです。AI とか発達してったらそこでロボットとか AI が逆に子供の周りの面倒見てくれるとか、今の倫理からすると私もそれは、大丈夫かなと思うんですけど、なんか10年後とか20年後とかそれが普通になんかこうなっていくことっていうのもあると思うんですよ。やっぱり30年前ってみんな iPhone なんて持ってなかったのにスマートフォンって 出た頃もスマートフォンなんて、いや、こんなの流行んないよって言われたのに、今もうスマートフォン持ってるの当たり前じゃないですか。そういう風にね、なんかね、物事って変わっていくんじゃないかなと思うんですよね。
マスター、元気？
I'm not sure if that guy really has his finger on the pulse.
例のだよ。今日は特別にマスターにメッセージを送れることになったんだ。
What?
Ekimemo is a gaming application where players travel around different train stations. Nekonasu fell in love with Yaku Moreno, one of the characters in the app. The two got married in 2019.
生身にしろ、そうじゃないものにしろ。
They got it in right before the pandemic too. Good on you, buddy.
この精神っていうところがこう切り離されているっていうところだと、まあそれが人間であろうが架空のものであろうがっていうのはあんまり意識はしてないですね。だから自分としてはもうこのヤクモレーノという人はそばにいる、まあ実際にいる人。
Oh my god. Dude, what is he doing? He's shameless, too. He doesn't care. He's like, nope, we're going out in public. I'm proud. I'm a proud husband. Traveling says, man, why is every Japanese man a pedo? That's a good question.
人っていう認識で今。
Well, it just reminds me when we watched the one about the lolly, like the lolly shit in Japan and how it was kind of becoming a problem over there and lots of people wanted to legislate against it, saying it's like, you know, kind of sexual sadism stuff. It's unhealthy for people. It's also the fact that often depicts like teenagers and children. And they had the same kind of weird perspective as if they were like skeptical that this was actually a thing that could be a problem. In the same way that this is, like they're just so like so unjudgmental. It's so one-sided, so lopsided for these people. It's just weird. It's just weird. Like the only takeaway I can have is like, oh, isn't that interesting? And well, who are they hurting? Blah blah blah. Isn't that what they want you to feel at the end of this?
What's the connection that you and your wife have to this place?
5月にネモフィラっていうかなり綺麗な花が一面に咲くんですけれども、それが奥さんの一番最初の衣装とぴったりするっていうところで、まあ、印象に残ってるところですね。
If you don't mind.
What a king. Look at this fella.
Asking, when you guys do go out, in what form does your wife join you in?
いつもはですね、まあ元々のそのアプリの設定ではだいたい小さいサイズで肩のあたりとかにいて、まあこの電光を従えてる人みたいには見えないっていう前提があるので、もちろんこういうフィギュアとかは持ち歩いたりはしてるんですけれども。
Oh my goodness. Well, that was okay. That was about over. I don't even know what to say. But maybe these guys are right.